And I know that this is something that a lot of you guys don't want to hear because it feels like criticism. It feels like, parenting, right? But it's something that we definitely have to talk about because the attention to detail is what's going to save your life at the end of the day as a content creator, as an influencer, as a TikToker, as whatever you are. It's going to save your life at the end of the day if you start paying attention to every detail, start micromanaging everything that you can control and have control over to really sharpen your brand into something that is worth being competitive in the attention economy. I literally started off from a content creator to a live streamer. First of all, this is the first part, right? How do you guys think that I went from content creation to live streaming daily to back to better content that evolved and was better? I paid attention to what I needed to work on. I paid attention to my strengths. I paid attention to my weaknesses. And at the end of the day, that benefited me because I managed to transition, is a good word, into growth. And that was the best thing that I could have done, going from a live streamer to a content creator, or even going from a content creator to a live streamer that streamed every day for hours, right? I did that because I was able to do it, right? Because it's a luxury, it's a privilege. I was able to do it because I was paying attention to my strengths. I was paying attention to my weaknesses. I was paying attention to the polarity. I was paying attention to the impact, right? And basically wrapping that, making a Chipotle burrito of what I wanted my core message to be, what I wanted my branding to look like, right? By paying attention to the details. So let me tell you guys about something that I did that I felt like was ingenious. It was one of my most ingenious things that I ever applied to my branding, to my LLC, to my content creation, to my company, right? All of it was I planned out everything with a vision. I wrote it down. I filled out journals. I filled out planners. I filled out a calendar. Writing a new quote every day that was my own philosophy. That was my own wisdom. That was my own thought process. Filling out a calendar, filling out an entire yearly planner that I filled out in one day because I wanted to write down the details of what I was doing to really focus in and lock in on the process, not the numbers, not the results, not the effect, not the cause, but the impact, right? This led me to initially planning out everything with my vision for the brand, my vision for getting an LLC and starting it, which I accomplished, graduating, which I accomplished, continuing to learn, which I accomplished, reading, hundreds of books and still going and still being a student and still learning, right? That vision ultimately changed my life, and all I did was write down everything that I was planning to do, everything I wanted to do, everything I could do, and really navigating every single pipeline. Y'all hear that sparrow in the background? That's so beautiful. Really navigating every single pipeline, every possibility, every opportunity, because I knew if I wanted to go down that path and I wanted to, I could make it happen. And it was all from my attention to detail. It was so important. It was just so important. So that leads me, put a pin in that because we're going to have to come back. I mean, it's going to come up later in the video. So put a pin in that. We're going to come back to it. It's going to make sense before the video is over. I promise I'm going to tie up all the loose threads. I promise. So after I planned out and wrote out my vision, right? You should see my journaling ecosystem. It is not even huge. It's not even a word for it. It's just at this point, it's the best word to describe it is just really, like I'm bragging at this point. Like it's just overwhelming how many journals I have with years and years of content for the future. Essays written out, lectures written out, plans written out, structures, all of it. And so many journals, it's ridiculous. If you saw it, you would hate me. But I eventually evolved from that, moving into my next point when it comes to attention to detail as a content creator, and that is understanding the impact, right? Because you have to have a vision in mind, but the key thing that goes with having a vision for your brand, for your content, for your channel, your platform, whatever it is, it has to go along with this key. It is so important that you are micromanaging and paying attention to everything that you have control over: quality, audio, video, representation, branding, when you post, how often you post, being consistent, showing up for yourself. All come into play with a vision, and what comes to play with a vision is having a core message. Hence, why I say your impact. How are you getting there? How are you influencing? How are you impacting people to feel the vision, not just see it or be told the vision? Maybe see it if you're really good at it, right? To imagine, right, with you the vision. It's so important. It's so relevant. And when I tell you that is how you control everything, later on brands are going to work with you, companies are going to want to work with you. You can pipeline into a career, you can freelance, you could grow it, you could evolve it, you could scale it, and nobody's going to be able to tell you anything because you already have a vision, you already have a core message, you already have goals for your impact, right? So the next point moving forward is understanding the pipeline. Now, what I told you to put a pin in, we are going to come back to it very, very soon. It's going to hit you and you're going to realize, you're going to be like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Just stick with me and try to pay attention, okay? I know I'm trying to keep your attention for as long as I can, talking as fast as I can, but understanding the pipeline. If you want a career in content, it is not about the content. It's about the pipeline, what you can avenue creating content into, right? And that is understanding the principles, understanding the thought process, understanding the correlations and the philosophy of it will help you in every sense of trying to get to your long-term goals, right? Not your short-term goals, because all you need for that is focus, some intuition, and a little bit of perception. Throw it in there, mix it up together, and be passionate about it, right? But when it comes to pipeline, you have to understand how it works to build a career out of content creation. Nobody wants to just end up making content creation. Nobody wants to just end up creating content for the rest of their lives, unless they want to be seen. And people who want to be seen by creating content are never the ones that get seen. They're never the ones that get seen. So you have to pay attention to the details in a sense of understanding how it works. What industry do you want to break into with some weird, really hyper-specific niche that you created to crowbar your way into that industry? How does it work? When is the best time to implicate? When is the best move? Where's the best move? Who do you need to talk to? Where do you connect? How do you engage with it? How do you learn? Where are the mentors? Where are the people who are experienced? Right? And it evolves into more adjacents as you go, not just a direct from here to there. It's like a diagonal every time. And you have to understand how it works to understand that. So I'm just rambling about attention to detail because I feel like we're missing a big point trying to just be content creators for the long run, or not pipelining it is insane in our Lord and Savior's 2026? What are we doing? Make it make sense. And so moving on, this point is for all my black creators, all my black influencers, all my black TikTokers, all my black content creators on Instagram and X. I don't know why you're on X. And Facebook and Instagram, MySpace, if you're even on MySpace, right? But I think this is for you. This message is directly for you. And that message is, if you are passionate about it, fight for it. If you're passionate, fight for it. Because everybody's fighting for it at the end of the day. But as a black creator, you are fighting for it 10 times harder and will never get recognition for that. Despite, no matter if you make it blow up, you become the biggest, you become worldwide, you go international, you pipeline into a huge career, you make a lot of money from it at the end of the day without doing anything, whether you make content creation work for you and not the other way around, right? The fact that you are going to have to fight 20, 30, 40 times harder, you will never get recognition for that, but keep fighting for it, because over here you are seen, you are valid, and you are valued, right? The word slipped my mind for a second. You are valued, you are important, and you are worthy of your platform. Stop putting yourself actively choosing to be stuck with your imposter syndrome, with the anxiety, with the fear, with the doubt, when you know you have a platform for a reason. Stop arguing with it and really pipeline that shit as hard as you can into something glorious, something amazing, something worthy of telling people that you're a fucking influencer. Okay? To all my black creators, because I know it's hard. I know sometimes we fear being seen, or we have been so brainwashed or hypnotized, or so ready to move out of fear. But we can deconstruct from all those things. We can unlearn those things, and then we can really use our power, our influence, our intelligence, our wisdom, our knowledge to really leverage on some shit that a lot of content creators will never have, right? But that's my message. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys stay tuned for my next video coming next week by subscribing. Hit the like button, leave a comment to support. If you don't know what to say, just leave me some emojis and I'll love those emojis. And stay tuned for my next video next week. Have a blessed week. I'm Jordan Exalt and I am out of here. I'll be back.